Hi everyone, this is Kevin Turple, the strength and conditioning coach at Parkside. We're going to roll out the between semesters UW Parkside soccer strength and conditioning workout. First exercise, of course, is a warm-up. As you'll see through the progression here, after several different reps and then into the what will become the third set, we will start to reach further or actually increase the range of motion. So you'll see me do that there with the rotation at chest level and then right to hip pocket. That again will be your third set. You will increase the range of motion or do a tight rotation. Again, you'll see that in the dynamic rotation here as well. Eventually I will move or reach towards the floor. That'll be your third set. So one set of 20, second set of 20, third set of 20. That third set of 20 reps will be reaching towards the ground. Here it is with monster walks. While taping, we didn't and forgot to grab a band, but you will have a band at your ankles, providing resistance. Again, you can do this or you can do a bike routine for 5 to 10 minutes. We figured we'd get this and put this in the program because this is also a core related movement, so this one can provide the core motion for you. Here, when you're going sidestepping, make sure the band does not return to full shortness, if you will. Keep the resistance on the legs. Again, backwards rotation. And again, you can vary the movement. You can go tight rotation or long. Stretching. This is your your static stretching. As you see, you put your arms in different 3D rotation patterns and hold it there for 2 to 3 reps or seconds. Left arm is bent at waistline, 90-degree elbow flexion or elbow bending, if you will. Again, reach behind. That elbow is touching the bar in front of you. Make sure you stand in line with your feet and the attachment or the contact point and step the left leg back. Static stretching for the hamstring. Pretty self-explanatory with the video. Again, 2 to 3 seconds. Position yourself in 3-dimensional movement patterns or position static patterns. More lifelike and more functional. This is Captain Morgan. Make sure you slouch down a little bit. Make sure that hip moves forward a little bit. We call it the Captain Morgan, the adductor stretch, or the Captain Jack. Again, your hip flexor or anterior thigh. Make sure the hip is forward. Use up all space in that forward or linear motion, or sagittal plane of motion it's called. And then begin your rotations or movements. Here's your dynamic or active stretching. 3 reps. Make sure or pretend as if your arm, your right arm at this point, is contacted or connected to your hip with a line like a fishing wire or a fishing line, and you're driving the arm and the hips. So they're connected by this wire or this imaginary line. The reason why we're doing a total body stretch here is because we are doing both upper and lower extremity exercises. And those arms are driving the hips. Again, Captain Morgan or Captain Jack Sparrow if you want to keep it clean. But this is what we're doing. And again, this is a medial thigh or adductor stretch. As you can see, I'm fairly limited in my hip mobility, and especially in that plane of motion. Make sure those hips are moving or very active or more active than what mine are presenting with. Again, keep this heel down on this one. Reach over. Alright, this is the next progression in the workout. This would be your core program. Core stability exercises with the movements are important, again, for injury prevention and performance enhancement. You'll see the movement patterns. Essentially in the program would be set up for 7 reps each of the movements. As you can see, try to tuck your chin. I do not have my chin tucked very well. Try to make sure you have that a little bit. Drop your waist a little bit too. And again, same progression. The movement is touching, one arm touching, then no touching. Again, repeat the process or the progression. It's alternating, one arm touching, one arm not touching. This next progression is a lower extremity driver. As you can see, it's up and down, alternating, then one touching, and then one no touching. Again, for the progression of one set of 7 reps each for a total of 21 reps. Again, here we're doing sideways motion or into the frontal plane. Again, alternating, one touch, no touch. Next progression is rotation. Emphasis on the transverse plane of motion, where a majority of injuries happen. Now we're going to move to our plyometrics, or reactive training. Lateral motion first. The reason why we start with lateral motion in these programs is because it's easier on the knee joint. Self-explanatory, 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing, and again, plyometrics landing training is important. It emphasizes body control and injury prevention. And as we move forward, we're going to become more aggressive or else more complicated or more complex in the movement. Remember to stick the landing for 1 to 2 seconds and then move on. Under control. If you're wavering or moving your arms or losing your control, that's not a complete rep. Start and finish the rep over again. Okay, now we're going to move on to our agility exercises, our ARQs. This is our lateral side shuffle drill, going left first, of course. Again, lateral emphasis movements is easier on the knee joint. And also, prospectively speaking, there is a lot of lateral motion in sports as well. So this is why we're doing that. Here's a karaoke or a crossover. Karaoke, I should say. Remember, you'll be going, and I think I re-emphasized in an earlier drill, gain speed here as well. Again, the distance here will be, and not again I should say, the distance will be 10 yards up and then 5 yards to the left and 5 yards to the right to set this drill up. So it's a rather expansive run up to with a 10-yard lead in, but about 5 yards one way and 5 yards the other way. Again, you're seeing different variations of this. Speed cut, remember to step over the leg. As you can see, I had a little bit of an issue with one of my knees, so when I headed to the right, that left foot did not step over the right as well. Make sure you aim for that. Moving on, Cal is demonstrating our lateral cone short side shuffle. He's cross-touching, again, great prevention, great injury prevention, and good to get the rotation plane and rotation movements done. As you can see, there's no variation or no expectation here as far as yardage or distance. Set it up the way Cal had set it up for you. This is our linear motion. As you can see, Cal is having just a little bit of an issue as he heads backwards, staying in that pattern, but ideally we want to focus on cone awareness, or obviously awareness when you're in the environment in the sport. So this is a good body awareness. Make sure you stay in that pattern. Here's our lateral figure 8 pattern. Again, if you want to side shuffle, sometimes when you look this up online, there's people side shuffling, crossing over. You can do both if you will. The way the sets and reps are set up in the program, you can do both. You can do a crossover, or you can just strictly do a lateral side shuffle through this motion. The linear figure 8, I'm starting on one side of the cone. I'm starting behind. Again, for the sets and reps, again, you can start on the left or right side of the cone, starting forward and back. As you can see, I'm demonstrating that with this one as well. Again, starting forward and back on one side or opposite side of the cone, moving forward and back. So again, generally speaking, about 4 reps. Start 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Moving on to our lateral quickness step up. 1 foot over and then one step behind. During this motion, as we move on and see Cal doing it, if in that 10-second period you stumble, stop the drill. And then move on to the next set or rep, if you will. Yeah. Here's our strength program, as you saw in the previous slide there, UW Strength. This is Cal doing a upper body circuit, if you will. He had the push-ups there, push-ups with the Spider-Man. It's like a lunge for the upper body, as you can see. You had your linear motion, you had the lateral motion. Again, no research and no information regarding linear and lateral motion for the upper body, but it's just a good variation of movements and different muscle fiber activation. As you can see, he's doing a step up there, and now he's doing an explosive push-up. Now for those that can't do that, you obviously can kneel and do those push-ups that way. This is a single leg squat with a leg driver in the sagittal plane or one plane of motion. Remember, we're driving the legs. We can do it with both legs, but this is a little bit more intensive and a little bit more challenging. Here, this challenges those people with the ACLs and the ankle instabilities. It really works the hip complex or the glute med. Here's our lateral lunge complex. Make sure your leg is straight, torso is touching that knee. You can do rotation as well over the leg. You can do it away from the stepping or lunging leg as well. And we can reach behind you as well. A little bit of a challenge. Here within this, as we can see, we move on to the next slide as well. We're showing the different arm drivers and variations. You don't have to specifically do them. If you want to keep the hands overhead, hands on waist, that's fine, but you're getting different forces and different injury prevention and different challenging challenges in the movement while you're moving in space and moving your body and strengthening it. This is a good one to reach down. It really engages the glute complex as well. Again, re-emphasizing the fact this is good just arm driving for injury mechanics prevention. Here's our lateral step up. In linear step up, again, you can rotate. Arms overhead if you want. If the arms are straight overhead held, it's a little bit more challenge for the quads. We like to emphasize the fact that we're going to have you rotate. I'd like to emphasize that. It's good. Most injuries happen in that rotation plane or while we're rotating. Squat jumps. In this motion, you can see how the knee moves, particularly important for injury prevention.